Joining us now, a man who is currently behind the mic in Studio B and will be behind the mic on BYU Radio tonight, Greg Wrubell, the voice of the Cougars. Greg.
There he is.
Welcome back. You're not busy at all this time of year, so thanks for hanging out with us.
I'm behind this mic right now.
Yes, you are.
So I was counting on Jaron for the guest lineup tonight, so we're out of luck. I don't know who's on the show.
We'll have Roger Goodell, David Stern.
No, wait, I do know. This just handed me. We've got... from the first family of BYU football, Steve Kofusi is on. BYU linebacker coach Steve Kofusi will be with us. Former BYU wide receiver, record-setting wideout, dare I say, Austin Collie is on the program.
Goat.
And a mystery guest. I'd like to promote it now, but I just want to hedge my bets to a little later on in the day. So if this mystery guest is going to happen, I'll update you on Twitter a little later on today.
Oh,
okay.
You're such a
I feel pretty good about it, but again, not 100%. So we'll go mystery guest. If it happens, you'll hear about it on Twitter at Greg Wrubell later on today.
Okay.
Okay, Greg.
Well, thanks for coming on.
By
Greg.
the way,
It's great to see
throwback. You bet. Throwback. Best Saturday night skit ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Your
those
opinion.
are those are worthy options. More cowbell stands alone. Matt Foley, anything Matt Foley does, top notch. Back in the day, James Brown Celebrity Hot Tub.
Yes, Eddie Murphy. Yes, hot tub. Hot tub.
I put a water.
Gonna make you wet.
Tub.
Yeah. Gonna make you sweat.
Yeah. Well. Okay. So,
I love that one.
all right.
Yes.
Just one to consider.
Yes.
Okay.
SNL skit power rankings coming out this afternoon.
We're seriously going to have this topic. Like, that's going to be a topic for an entire show in the summer. It needs to be.
We always say we just like launch crap into the summer.
It
summer.
needs to be. But you know that would kill because that's what people love, man.
Yeah. Good stuff.
All right.
We have any time left?
Yeah.
Football?
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Greg. It was great to have you.
We'll get around to the lead here.
I know that this is hypothetical hysteria of sorts. What if
That's what
BYU
Wednesdays
beats
are for, bro.
LSU? But what would a win over LSU mean for the state of BYU football? What would it do to the nation and to college football?
I'll go coach speak here. It would mean 2-0 is all it's going to mean. No, I wouldn't say that. If LSU is arguably the best or second best team you're going to face this year, well, fair to say, right?
Yeah.
Then it pretty much proves that you can handle everything that's going to come up on your schedule. Now, injuries happen and different things happen with different personnel throughout the course of the year. But if you did that, it pretty much show that you are ready to take on the 2017 schedule and get excellent results. If you're that good, if you're good enough to beat this team, excellent team, then you're good enough to do a lot of good things here in 2017. So I think it's an early benchmark game. Again, not a killer if you lose it because LSU is going to be legit. But if you do win it, it shows that you are up to the task of anything 2017 may throw at you.
Let's keep the Wednesday hypotheticals going. BYU wins this game. What do you think happened in that game?
I think BYU will have to win at least two of these three stats: third down conversion, turnover margin, and average starting field position. It may take only two to do it, but I think of those are three of the most integral correlation-related stats for BYU in terms of wins or losses. If they can find a way to have the advantage in two of those three categories, they're going to be in really good shape. If they win all three, they're going to win. I believe that. For BYU, those three, and there are others that play into it, but those three have just been so big for BYU over the years, last 10, 15 years. And if you can do it against LSU, again, in two of those three categories, you've played a great game.
To me, this feels like it will be a low-scoring contest. It just, I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why.
Well, there are some reasons to feel that way,
Yeah.
right? It's early in the season to begin with. Dave Aranda, with last year's D, now they lost a ton of talent. They lost 6 NFL draft picks off last year's defense alone. Not the team, just the defense lost 6 NFL draft picks. So you're losing a ton of talent. 7 of the 8 top tacklers are gone from last year's team, but it was a Dave Aranda defense. We've seen Dave Aranda before at Utah State and Wisconsin. His Wisconsin team did a good job against BYU. So the fact that Dave Aranda is the DC, that's one good reason to think about it. Last year with that group, they allowed 1.3 touchdowns per game.
Wow.
Okay? So what's that put you at? 10. Okay? So 10 is what their benchmark was going to be. If you can get past 10, you've done a good job. So if BYU were to get 20, I know Kalani wants more than the 20 points scored against Portland State. If they doubled the 10, in terms of touchdowns that LSU was averaging allowed last year, if you got to 20, you've done a decent job against the Dave Aranda defense. And it may take 2017, 2019, 21-17 to win this game. I wouldn't be stunned if it's low scoring as well. And don't be upset if BYU only scores 20 points. That might be enough to win if the BYU D is up to the task.
I said to Jeremy this morning, 1st to 17 wins. I think 1st to 17 might be the winner.
Yeah,
that could be the market.
And LSU had some, I'm going to call them clunkers, but they had some low-scoring games last year. They had a number of games where they were sitting in the 14-10, 6-7 range, and games they lost. Now, when they won, they tended to win pretty big. When they lost, it was usually a lower scoring and tighter affair.
Let's look at those. Yeah, let's look at those numbers. So LSU last year goes 8-4, tight losses like you chronicled. So they lose to Wisconsin. They score 14 points, 16-14. They lose to Auburn. They lose by 5. They score 13 points. They lose to Alabama 10-0. They lose to Florida 16-10. So if BYU can get in the high teens, close to 20 or something, BYU could score fewer points than they did against Portland State and still win. And it depends on, can the offense keep LSU down, and can the defense, can the offense get enough points?
Yeah, you recall the start of last year. Those first 3-4 games, they all felt the same way. They were close losses, and nobody was scoring a ton of points. And that's what you tend to get early in the season against really good teams, and certainly LSU qualifies.
I think there's a lot of imperfection in perceived perfection. What I mean by that is...
Hold on, back up on that. Give me again one more time.
I think there's a lot of imperfection in perceived perfection. BYU beats Gonzaga. Oh, they had to play the perfect game to win. No, they didn't. They were down 18-2. When BYU beat Oklahoma, Harvey Unga didn't play. Yoli Childs didn't really play. When BYU beat Miami, Ty Detmer threw like 3 picks. Like, stuff happens that is negative. You don't have to play a perfect game.
Or score 40 points.
Or score 40 points. You're in the, it's what, 14-13 when you beat Oklahoma.
28-21 over Miami.
BYU does not have to play a perfect game. They just have to play a really, really good game. And we know that games come down to a couple of plays. You have to be on the high side of those plays.
And I think Kalani goes into this game comfortable that even though Darius Geis is a phenomenal back, and if he plays at full speed, he'll challenge any defense to do its job well. But I think he feels like our guy is hit hard enough to have Darius Geis think he's getting SEC quality type hits when he runs into a linebacker or hits one of our nose tackles. I think Kalani believes that he and the front seven especially can give Darius Geis the kind of game he's going to get the rest of this season. And so I just get the sense that, especially defensively, there's a quiet confidence that, we're going to go toe-to-toe with these boys.
Where is BYU better than LSU?
Quarterback.
Straight up. Tanner Mangum versus Danny Etling.
And that's the position to be better at.
Danny Etling had to really fight off a freshman in camp to secure the job. They didn't name him. Remember, they did. Now, this is a senior coming in. If you're the returning senior starter, well, that's your guy, right? Well, Coach Ogeron wasn't naming him the guy until 3 weeks into camp. He had to fight off Miles Brennan to win that job and really lock it down. The cliche, I hate to use it, game manager, but that's the kind of label that a quarterback gets who's not spectacular, but his team's really good with him. That's kind of who he is. Not a great percentage completion guy. He has to be better, I think, for Auburn to reach its potential this year than he has been, and he should be because he is a senior. But I think at quarterback, BYU has the edge. We'll see how much that means at the end of the game. But it may not just be a position, whether for BYU's advantage or disadvantage. It's going to have to be, we got a lot of great efforts from a lot of different guys. Whether or not you can line up BYU guy A against LSU guy A and say BYU's guy is better or not. It's, do the guys B, C, and D working on that particular play work together to force the other guy to give the ball up, for example. It's going to be a group effort.
When homie started at Purdue, that tells me a lot. All right, let's get a cool thing about Canada from you this week, and I'm excited for this one.
Okay, so we've been lighthearted on this segment before. Okay, we're going to get serious and historical.
Oh.
All right? So get out the notebooks and pencils, kids. So back in 1803, the U.S. acquired from the nation of France the Louisiana Purchase.
Heard of it?
Okay, so you see way down at the bottom you got New Orleans and you got Louisiana, but it was a bunch of land, right? Look how much land the Louisiana Purchase encompassed. Yeah. And what's that? Is that Canadian land I see up there?
Oh.
Yes, the U.S. owned parts of my home provinces.
Not just on the basketball court.
I grew up in Saskatchewan and Alberta. Those are my 2 home provinces. And for a time, about 15 years, the U.S. owned part of Canada, right there in my provinces of Alberta and Saskatchewan, until 1818, when the U.S. and Great Britain redrew their borders to encompass the 49th parallel, in which case Great Britain, later Canada, got those parts back. But there you see, the Louisiana Purchase gave to the U.S. parts of my homeland, the great nation of Canada, back in the day. That's back in the day, people, 1803.
1803. Okay, hold on, I'm writing this.
And by the way, today's segment can be used for credit. So, contact your guidance counselor. I think there's a form you fill out, and you're good.
Yeah.
It'll take care of a couple of electives one way or the other.
Yeah, just attribute Greg Wrubell for that, right? When you cite him in your research paper.
It's the Sports Nation waiver. Just ask for it. Your schools all have it.
Spencer sent you.
Yeah.
Safe travels to Louisiana.
Yeah, going tomorrow, I hope. I mean, it looks like the storm's kind of going northeasterly in New Orleans. This is going to get wet, but not really, really bad stuff. So I'm feeling good. Confidence is high that we'll fly in there tomorrow.